Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this, your Libra November 2024 reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James, Clairvoyant. Well, this month we have a great deck for you. It's very romantic, I think. It's full of vampires, but vampires are full of, or appear as, beautiful women, handsome men. Something for everybody, no doubt. And the name of the deck is... What is the name of the deck? The Tarot of Vampires. Quite uncontroversially. Well, it's great at telling us what the cosmic energies are that you can manage to bring about emotional fulfillment and success. Now, you will know, of course, that I provide clairvoyant readings to people from all over the world over FaceTime and Skype, and I charge for those, I have to. And if you're interested in seeing what's involved in that, then the information is in the description when you get to the end of the video. Now, there's another gift which I also offer to you if it calls to you, and it is this. It is the spiritual gift of healing. Now, I emphasize spiritual. There's no religion in it. The healing comes through me and not from me, as you would expect. And where it comes from, well, you can join the dots however you would like. Now, it's offered for free, as I say, and you might say, well, if it's anyone who offers anything for free, it can't be any good, or I'm being ripped off. Look, the thing is this. I know that if I were ever to have charged for it, then it would not have worked. See, if I charge for it, it doesn't work. And my sole contract is to offer it to people who seek it and without getting anything in return. No benefit, there's no obligation. Nothing will be sold to you. There's no expectation at all. Lots and lots of people do it. So if this does speak to you, and particularly if you've got any emotional problems that you're concerned about, as I say, lots of people do it. I set time aside each day to do the healings, and so reach out to me in the way that's set out in the description below. Now, we're going to take 5 cards, but I might mention that there are no video advertisements in this content, and so you get to enjoy the experience of the reading direct without interference from advertising. And these 5 will tell us everything that we need to know, so show me the magic. The Fool. Wonderful. The Magician. 1 and 2. The major arcanas in a row for you. I have never seen that. There's Judgment. Judgment. 3 major arcana. The Prince of Skulls. Finally, what is there here? There is the Daughter of Knives. Well, why don't I bring the camera around? You and I can have a good close look at the art on these cards together, which is really quite alluring, while the cosmic energies swirl and speak to us both, and I'll do the reading for you. Maybe it's this deck, but I get a lot of relationships coming up with respect to the various energies that are here. Definitely it's a time of change, of moving on within yourself, taking a fresh attitude to the way you see yourself, and being at peace with yourself and your abilities. I want to look at this one first, only because I think it has, interestingly, a lot of Libra energy around it. And that is because it's speaking to me of a lot of adjustment going on in your life. This is a time when you will, there's a decision that's going to be made that's got something of a major impact on your life, such as a lifestyle or a career. But with these Magician and Fool here, I can assure you that these are positive, these changes that are coming. A life-changing experience in a way.
It's it has something of an impact, and you look back at the time and you'll say, I'm glad I did that. In fact, I'm thinking it's also saying that you'll be moving on after seeing the bigger picture, and probably there's a requirement for you just to stand back for a moment and to look to see what that big picture is. You'll be a very gifted person at analysing material that you see on the net or in the media. You'll be quite a critic in some respects, and you'll have a great ability to speak from intuition and your first-hand experience of things. It's a very high fertility card, this. Good for families. Yeah. Good for people who are looking to see how they can combine family and career. Maybe someone's thinking about starting or adding to a family and how to juggle the responsibility of career with that family. Closure, resolution, definitive action. That's the vibration that's definitely coming through here. Well, if I can think of relationships, because it is beaming up here. Look, we all know it, but sometimes it takes a heartbreak to shake us awake and help us see we are worth so much more than we are settling for. As far as ladies are concerned, every woman that finally figured out her worth has picked up her suitcases of pride and boarded a flight to freedom, which lands in the Valley of Change, doesn't it? And, oh, excuse me, I just bash that thing and give myself concussion. Now, when I say landing in the Valley of Change, of course, sometimes the hardest part isn't letting go, really, is it? But rather learning to start over. But we do, and we benefit from it. Now, as far as looking back, if you spend your time hoping someone will suffer the consequences for what they did to your heart, then you're allowing them to hurt you a second time in your mind. Now, even though you may want to move forward in your life, you may have one foot on the brakes. In order to be free, you must learn how to let go. Release the hurt. Release the fear. Refuse to entertain, to think about, to wallow in your old pain. The energy that it takes to hang on to the past, well, that will be holding you back from a new life, you know. So what is it that you want to let go of? Sometimes, of course, closure, moving forward with things, means moving residence or moving away from somewhere that we've lived a long time. Now, if you must leave a place that you have lived in and loved, and where all of your yesteryears, all those past times are buried deep, then leave it anyway, except in a slow way. Leave it the fastest way that you can. Never turn back, and never believe that an hour that you remember in that place is a better hour than you have now, because that hour in the past is dead. Now, past years, they seem safe ones, don't they? While future lies in a cloud, which can be scary from a distance. But these other cards here are saying that there is great strength coming your way. You'll find that it's necessary to let things go now, simply for the reason that they are heavy. So let them go. Let go of them. Don't tie any gym weights to your ankles. And when you leave somebody else, whether it's a romantic relationship or a friendship, letting go doesn't mean that you don't care about someone anymore. It's just realizing that the only person you really have control over is yourself. But you must make a decision that you are going to move on. It won't happen automatically. You have to rise up and say, I don't care how hard this is. I don't care how disappointed I might think that I am, what thoughts I paint in my mind, and the words that I create around them. I'm not going to let this get the best of me. I'm moving on with my life. Sometimes the most settling thing is to just come to the realization that some people or places are a part of your history, but not a part of your destiny. Say this to yourself. I observe people and situations objectively and fairly. I value the combination of my qualities and characteristics. I honor the unlimited well of creativity within me to express in relationship or career settings. God is the unknown, the mysterious. The more I know that I don't know, the closer I am to the divine. Now, abutting against that is this card here. And again, I'm looking at all these roses, which to me is speaking of some degree or other of great openness, trust, ability. And look at these crows here. They've seen the future. They've seen the destination. You too will see the destination. This is a time when you will have openness, trust, and you'll be ready to take a risk. Also, you'll have the courage to stand your ground, and freedom and independence are going to be very important to you. You have now great potential within you and the possibility to really take a huge leap because you'll be listening to your heart's voice. You'll be living in the present. Now, I'm looking at these 4 animal sort of masks here. What do they suggest to me? They suggest that one of them stands for emotional rebirth, the recognition, understanding, and acceptance of your true emotional needs. I think this one is saying to me that there's vulnerability and sensitivity here with you, and you understand they are requirements for love of yourself as well as for other people. It also says that you will have the ability to say no in unclear relationships. Now, this one here to me suggests that it is bringing the presence of the realm of relationship into your picture, the quality of your relationship with families, friends, business associates, and deep emotional bonds. They need to be re-examined and re-evaluated. I mean, in a nutshell, which people do you really want around you? And this 4th mask here is really suggesting to me that it's urging for the development of your creative abilities in work and also in interpersonal relationships. There is the unfolding now of creative powers for you. And this is also speaking to you of great endurance and leadership qualities which you'll have, as well as the ability to work independently and self-sufficiently. It really is also saying that you can break through old, worn-out conditioning, and that fear is conquered. It has lost its power over you, and it can't injure you at all. And you'll have an unshakable faith in existence that allows you to be aware of any fearful feelings that are coming up without being their victim. That is to say to yourself, look, I'm aware that fearful feeling is there, but I don't accept it. It's not part of me. You are now being liberated, free, and there are dynamic powers being released which are driving you forward. And this on-rushing, creative, unfolding process just won't be able to be held back. I think that this is also saying, and I want you to sense and to recognize how important you are to the lives of those people that you meet. How important you can be to the people you may never even dream of. There is something of yourself that you leave at every meeting with another person. In a sense, of course, this being, the Fool, has come halfway from eternity and sits before it goes into manifestation. So this is about huge, great potential for you, which you make great use of with this Magician card here. Now, eternity, you say. Well, look, what's eternity? Now, in the external scheme of things, shining moments are as brief as the twinkling of an eye. Yet such twinklings are what eternity is made of. Moments when we human beings can say, I love you, I'm proud of you, I forgive you, I'm grateful for you. That's what eternity is made of. Invisible, imperishable words like that reverberate all throughout time. I think that this energy here also is a reminder to you that at the center of the universe is a loving heart that continues to beat and wants the best for every person. Now, anything you can do to help foster, to improve the intellectual and the spirit and emotional growth of your fellow human beings, that's really going to be your job here. Those of us who've had this particular vision, really, we just have to continue against all odds, because this is new life here, and life is for service. You are ready for a new beginning, perhaps even a quantum leap, a huge leap, as I say. So give in, dare to leap, act, make decisions. Always make a decision and act. If the decision is the wrong one, you can always make another decision to fix it up. Even if a fear attempts to hold you back, know that its dead remains can no longer do so, and trust the voice within you. Now, say to yourself, I am a radiant being. I am a living treasure. I honor and value the unlimited resources of courage which are within me. I respect the nature of whom I am. There is nothing to fear. I now follow my heart. I am open and ready to go wherever it may lead me. Now, of course, I mentioned this other card here, which is giving you which is embodying the skills and gifts and that beating heart in the center of the universe which protects you and wants the good for you. Let's see what is here. The Magician with the wand here for fire, the candle for air, I suppose, is blood for water, and the skull for earth. The four elements of the tarot, I guess we would call them, wouldn't they? Well, look, I have a lot of Mercury around here. You will have massive communication ability, playful dealings with all possible forms of communication. There's a flexibility, a brilliance with you. And you will be action-oriented. There's power coming here. And more particularly, this power is going to permit you to bring your ideas and desires into action. Now, the influence of Mercury here, in fact, in many respects, this character is for me, maybe a bit of a personification of Mercury. Well, Mercury represents the will, wisdom, and the word through which the world was created. Mercury is androgynous. It's neither male nor female. It's the planet of intellect, communication, and is that connection, if you like, between yourself and pure consciousness, which I just call being itself. And Mercury is a genius at using all the possibilities available to him. Now, Mercury is dual, and in this duality, Mercury can stand for truth or for false. And it's bringing all set ideas and judgments into question for you now, which might make you appear to some people to be in something of a questionable light yourself. Now, as a creative creature, he knows no conscience. Use all tools, all methods to arrive at your goal. But do be aware that I suspect that the temptation to misuse the great store of talent that you have at this time could be great. But certainly this ability and skill that's with you will bring you superiority and power. Now, I do happen to know that Mercury and energy associated with it from my own life and people I know, he can metaphorically move on that narrow fence top between white and black magic, which means you've always got to be re-examining yourself. You'll be able to use your talents in a way which is all about you or in the service of love and delight. Now, for some reason, I'm also getting here that you need to look at and be aware of your feelings at this time, confronting your feelings and giving them proper expression. Well, that always takes strength, not weakness, doesn't it? You'd know that. It takes strength to acknowledge your anger, and sometimes more strength yet to pull back the aggressive urges that anger may bring so that you can channel them into non-violent outlets. It takes great strength to face your sadness and to grieve and let your grief and anger flow in tears when they need to. It takes strength to talk about your feelings and to reach out for help and comfort when you need it. What's coming up to me with the combination of this Fool and this Magician on here as well is that it is saying that there is no normal life that is free of pain. It's the very dealing with problems. That's the energy for your growth. And allied to this, of course, is the message here to never be afraid of those things which come up from time to time, which are disappointment. Because how great it is when we come to know that times of disappointment, they're always followed by joy. That guilt over falling short of our ideals and what we wanted can be replaced by pride in doing all that you can. And that anger can be channeled into creative achievements and into dreams that you make come true. I think it's also important to make this point, and then we'll deal quickly with those other ones here, that these two cards coming together like that, and this card, basically spirit coming into matter, is saying that as a human being, your job in life is to help people realize how rare and valuable each one of us really is. That each of us has something that no one else has or ever will have. Something inside that is unique to all time, never in the history of this planet, And never in the future of this planet will there ever be anybody like you before or again. It's your job really to encourage people to discover that uniqueness and to provide ways that they can develop. And that's really making the best use of these tools. Now, if you were concerned that you were not going to be active, which you are, then this should take care of it as far as I can pull out of it. Do you know, I think Aquarius, Pisces and Capricorn are going to be interesting for you. You really are now coming out of the clouds of confusion and into clarity, and you are having victory over your moods. Now, you'll be very skilled in the ways of the world, I think, and you will be demolishing, destroying old altars, and they are going to explode, sending clouds of smoke and rubble and ash into the air. Now, she's in swords, she's earth esoterically. So when the intellectual and spiritual air, renewal, meets the element of earth, the altars of old ideals are destroyed, ways of thinking about yourself. You're not putting up with things. Now, there may well be, as I say, some drama around, but the smoke will soon settle and you will be flying forward. Every change, every inner conflict that you experience will send smoke and ash, emotions and moods, I suppose, flying into the air. But you won't allow the dust caused by the destruction of the old and useless to set you back on attaining your vision. Now, she's got this knife here, and I suspect that you will use that knife to cut away moods and disruptive thoughts which arise. You will be resolute. Aggressive, perhaps? Really well with dealing with practical issues, particularly if they include arguments, contradictory aspects. People may see you as being quite rebellious, but you're not going to be intimidated by anything which has already been established. Now, some of the decisions that you take, and I suspect obviously it's to do with this judgment card, and as these things are implementing it, people may well be astonished by what it is that you do, but in the end, you see, you are going to be proven right. I think you're going to be very forceful and outgoing in your manner, and you'll get your ideas grounded in a way which works. Now, there could well be a tendency to be fighting battles internally and externally. Understand this: you are your own best friend. Speak to yourself as if you were speaking to your best friend, because the most powerful words, which are thoughts, and the paintings that you make, the most powerful words that you'll ever hear in your life are the words that you really speak to yourself about. You'll be following what you want to do, whether that's following the heart, following a lifestyle, maybe thinking about doing something in business, of course. But don't allow moods to take hold of you, and remain true to your real ideals. Now, what are the old altars, if I can put it that way, at present in your surroundings and in your life? Have you the courage to destroy them? I think you do. And look inside, see if your rebellion is rooted in love, and say, my rebellion is positive, constructive, and creative. Now we get to this final guy here. I think that this is somebody else in your life. Now, this could be either male or female, given that it's a court card, you know. And for some reason, I'm just getting the energy of Taurus and Aries around it. This is someone who's quite energetic, a good manager. Perhaps they're a bit dull though from time to time. They're slow to anger, but look out if they become enraged. This is someone who I think is quite energetic and enduring, steadfast and persevering when it comes to work, quite competent and ingenious, coming up with new things for everyday objects. They're able to adapt to circumstances, so learn that ability of adaptability from them is what I would say. And those circumstances, they turn them to their advantage in a slow, steady, thought-out plan. But this person you might think sometimes is almost entirely lacking in emotions, and the person makes no effort to understand any ideas which are new or conflict with their view of the world. And they are probably someone I think who's quite resentful of the more spiritual types, and probably resentful of things like tarot and clairvoyance and what have you. Slow to anger, but watch out if you do enrage them. But for you, this is saying that now is the time to take action, because if you do, important experiences are going to result. Find some physical activity which you like doing as well. And say to yourself, I now have the power, the belief, and the divine protection to put into motion that which I know I need to live a fulfilling life. What a fascinating spread of cards, made all the better for you being here.
Well, I told you that was an interesting deck, didn't I? And I hope you enjoyed the reading as much as I did by providing it to you. And unless I see you separately for a clairvoyant reading or for healing, then I'll see you again next month. And until then, though, remember one thing, and it is this, that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, it's bye for now.